What is media literacy? How educators can help students break the cycles of misinformation. Media literacy is an explanation for how information is navigated in the fast-moving and complex landscape of media. Understanding what we are experiencing through the various forms of media is incredibly important because we spend so much time engaging with it as a society. The impact it has on us can be determined very much by our own grasp of this concept. The Media Literacy Now organization defines it through our ability to decode messaging, assess its influence, and create media. Our learning objectives are to understand the central skills of critical thinking, to differentiate and articulate information, identify the goals and biases in media messaging, analyze and evaluate the rhetorical devices that are used to manipulate, understand how to effectively and responsibly engage with digital platforms and tools, guide students through development of their own critical thinking skills to grow media literacy. Read, learn, share. The internet offers nearly limitless possibilities for finding information, and very few limits on what information can be shared on it. When the World Wide Web was introduced in classrooms, educators were just as new to the platform as their students. As a result, there are multiple generations that weren't adequately equipped to navigate the flood of information or understand the effects of how information can spread and be used. Teachers now have the responsibility of providing the appropriate perspective to ensure that students today are better equipped than we were to responsibly engage in the exchange of information. Critical thinking skills. The 6 essential skills of critical thinking. 1. Interpretation. How to understand and explain what something means. 2. Analysis. Finding the connection and relationship between different pieces of information and what they are meant to convey. 3. Evaluation. Judging the credibility of someone and the information they are presenting. 4. Inference. Using information to reason and come to rational conclusions. 5. Explanation. Explaining conclusions and how they were deduced from information that was encountered. 6. Self-regulation. The ability to observe and change or correct views. Here are some methods to help your students strengthen their critical thinking skills. Ask and encourage. Asking open-ended questions and encouraging decision-making can give students a chance to apply the new ideas they've learned to prior knowledge and evaluating the ideas as they learn. Cooperation. Working in groups exposes students to other points of view and thought processes. By expanding their perspective, they learn that there can be many ways to look at a problem. Connect and challenge. Connecting ideas that are close to the problem students are examining helps them consider different contexts. Exposing them to different points of view gives the students a chance to challenge their viewpoints and learn from others. Inspire creativity. Creative projects connect different problem-solving skill sets and deepen the level of learning. Knowing how to articulate an idea verbally and then present it visually or musically creates new challenges and opportunities to engage with it. The goals of media. Considering purpose. 5 essential questions. The messages that are being presented in different forms of media often have different goals. Students need to understand who has created the message, what creative techniques are being used to attract attention, how might people with different perspectives receive this message, what lifestyles, values, and points of view are being represented in, left out of, or misrepresented in the message. Why is this message being shared? Considering tone and bias. Students should understand that many pieces of writing have a point of view that the writer favors over another. Writers can deliberately present one perspective more positively than a conflicting one, in order to persuade the audience into adopting it as their own. The writer's perspectives are influenced by their own experiences and may have incomplete information. Persuasive texts are written in a very assertive tone where the author's argument can be easily traced. Interpretive texts are written with a more balanced or neutral tone, with evidence to support multiple perspectives. For students to be able to critically examine a topic, identifying the perspectives and biases of the author, the techniques used to present the information, and the nature of the message itself must be skills the student has developed. Fact versus opinion. Educators should be proactive with the work they do with students and their ability to differentiate facts from opinions. Both are valid forms of expression for students to consider, but the credibility of sources is important in weighing the information presented in any piece of media. Facts are usually accompanied by data that demonstrates proof of their validity. If the information presented in media cannot be proven correctly by examining the records, the source can be determined to be untrustworthy. Opinions are usually expressed when the value of one perspective is presented as better or worse than another. An opinion can be supported or refuted with data or other opinions, but they can't be determined as true or false like facts can. Understanding engagement. Polarization. Social media is a form of media that can be very accessible but also very untrustworthy. Platforms like Facebook, Threads, or YouTube customize the content that is observed through algorithms and personal preferences. Students should understand how this affects their experience and how much those features create division. Algorithms reward engagement. If we spend time engaging with a particular type of content on social media, the artificial intelligence that drives the platform feeds us more of that content to encourage us to spend more time engaging on the platform. Stronger opinions typically get more engagement, so the platforms push the most extreme content more to grow that engagement. Social compulsion is a powerful force in human search for approval and acceptance with a group. False polarization can happen when we engage too exclusively with those whose beliefs we align with. An overestimation of the extremity of the other side and the underestimating of the extremity of our side can lead to the radicalization of beliefs and the growth of more extreme biases. Students will need to familiarize themselves with this phenomenon for two main reasons. The first, understanding the validity of information presented on social media, that's effective engagement. And the second, understanding how engagement with content can affect the bias of the information in an individual's feed and how their own bias can be affected in the process. That's responsible engagement. Artificial intelligence. Many of us had to learn on the internet on the fly as it was developed in our lifetimes, while others grew up with smartphones pointed directly at them. And still, media literacy is in need of more comprehensive understanding. The newest technology that has become more accessible in the public is AI, and educators need to present these tools carefully and holistically to ensure students use them effectively and responsibly. AI literacy. Understanding the nature and the essence of AI under the umbrella of media literacy asks how educators are going to react to its presence. This will determine if it's positive or negative. Competencies. Understanding the definition and the scope of AI. Understanding the ethical issues inherent in the development of AI tools. The biases of the creators. Ethical use of AI. Responsible use of AI. Timeliness. Widespread use of ChatGPT. The difference between ChatGPT and other AI tools. ChatGPT is conversational, and it's trained from a broad and general dataset. It's open-ended and versatile. it can create hallucinations, which are false information. There are many privacy issues and many examples of inappropriate use, including the stealing of intellectual property. Teaching AI literacy. Understanding the scope. Understanding the history and the scope of AI is important for teaching AI literacy. Showing students the difference between cognitive AI and neutral networks like ChatGPT is also important in understanding how the AI is working. Comparing search engines, generative AI, and retrieval augmented generation is also important for students to be able to use the technology effectively, as is understanding how large language models work. Ethics, responsibilities, and implications of AI. The complexities of AI may be above the levels of understanding that can be expected from elementary students or even secondary and post-secondary students. But as educators, it's still important to bring awareness of how to use the tools responsibly, ethically, and in what ways the use of AI may change things as it advances. As general educators, we don't have to teach AI to the students, but teaching them AI literacy can make a difference when it comes to misuse. Understanding ethical and responsible use. Prompt and response interactions with ChatGPT. Prompting for learning rather than delegating the actual work. For example, prompting to the bot to ask questions on a topic to gauge understanding, or prompting it to create a practice test can be effective and ethical uses of AI. Using it to cheat on your work, or to cut corners, or just delegating your work in general to the bot is irresponsible use of AI. Other ethical concerns with AI include ownership, copyright, and privacy. Understanding the social implications of AI. The government policy on AI was introduced in May 2024, but did not pass in Congress. AI in the workforce. Students need to understand that when they enter the workforce, AI will very likely be a part of the work that they do. So they need to understand how it's going to affect the industry that they choose. The public perceptions of AI is also important for students to understand because there's a lot of conflicting ideas. Growing media literacy. Demonstrate understanding. For us to determine whether our students are demonstrating media literacy, educators can focus on these 3 foundational competencies. Decode. Understanding what the message is trying to say, whether it is credible, and why it is being delivered. The content of the message depends on the context. Assess. The methods of communication can influence the audience, and identifying the techniques that are used to attract an audience can help determine the motive for sending the message. Students can tell information from misinformation with critical thinking skills. Create. The skills to articulate and engage with thoughtfulness and conscience will serve our students well. Credibility and integrity grow from the seeds of responsibility. Thank you for joining on this demonstration of why media literacy is important in students' education.